It's 6 o'clock. Wow, where did my hair go? It's Thursday. It's Texas. You know me, maybe by Robbie, maybe by Bobby, maybe as the founder and fearless leader, but ultimately I'm Bobby Gray, and I am the guy that started Texit Coin. I got a really bad haircut. It was a last minute thing. It happened on Friday, just before we were kicking off our Texit Ranger roundup, which was a blast. And they did a terrible job. And so I went in there today and I said, try again. Let's have a do-over. And this this is what we got. It's very short. But I'm not worried about it. Neither should you be. We should be focusing our attention instead on Texit Coin. So welcome to Thursday night. Remember, this call is all about you guys. I got nothing specific to talk about because I've been on phone calls ever since I left my office. Normally, I have like 30 seconds to sketch out a couple lines that take us through our evening. Not so much this week, folks. Not so much this week. But I do have an idea or two. And if you've got an idea or two, bring it on. But remember, this isn't supposed to be my call. This is supposed to be somebody else's call. Um, I haven't like designated somebody or some group as being the people responsible for tonight's call. But in general, this is an introduction to Texit Coin. And what we want to talk about on these calls is going to be lots of different points of entry to the conversation. You know, I've got my pitch, I've got my version, and my version is largely based on my personal experience. And so I'm really the only guy that can tell the story that way. You might be able to say all these things about me from a third party perspective, but ultimately you've got to come up with your own version of the introduction to Texit Coin. And we've got lots of flavors, many of them work. Um, I don't know. There's some short ones. I'm trying to think of what they are off the top of my head. I can't think of it. But I do have an idea of what I want to talk about tonight because I was having it was a great haircut. Thanks, TJ. Appreciate that. It doesn't give us much to talk about, but I kind of look like a cop, I think. I think I look like a police officer. Can you guys hear me? I guess you can hear me. Um, anyway, it's Thursday night. It's our time to get together. At least I'm wearing the appropriate t-shirt for us this evening. And I don't know, does Texit look kind of not space? Oh, that's by design. Let's not talk about it. I had a great conversation today with some friends at the office, and they were saying, hey, we've got somebody on board, but they got some questions about the law. And we'd like to have a way of winning this person over. And in order to win them over, we've got to tell them all these things. And I said, guys, I don't think I can do it. And they said, well, don't worry. They're there to help. These people can bring us up to speed in these law areas, get us the professional help that we need and file the forms and dot the T's and cross the I's. And I said, guys, I don't really know if I want that. Don't hang up yet. There's a lot more to talk about. But, and this person has just started reading Atlas Shrugged. I don't know if you can see it up there on the shelf right behind me, but there it is. Atlas Shrugged. And they said, you're probably going to come up with some sort of answer based on the book. And I said, not really. Not really. There are a lot of great principles in there that I think are applicable to the question and my answer, but it's not really what it boils down to. And as I get into this conversation, and this is a can of worms. So if you're not ready for a can of worms tonight, you might want to disconnect and check back next week. But as I open up this can of worms, I want to tell you kind of where the conversation ended. And the conversation ended at the same place where this conversation is going to begin. And the beginning of the conversation is that we are telling you, me, Texit Coin, the founder, the guy that's got us to where we are today, the guy that has built this rocket ship of ours, lots of help from lots of great people. You are probably one of those great people if you're listening and tuned in. You've helped build this ship. Speaking of rocket ships, did anybody see the farce that is Blue Origin's landing? Oh, we'll get back to that later. But what I have to tell you is extremely important. And what I have to tell you is that anything that you go into, Texit coin, getting in your car and driving to work, getting out of bed in the morning, starting a new job, taking on a new career, beginning of whatever it is that you go into, you always want to go into all those things with the most and the best information that you can get your hands on. What I want you to do is I want you to go into the Texit coin experience with your eyes wide open, your eyes and your heart. I want you to be open to all the possibilities that succeeding with Texit coin can create for you and me and us together. But along that lines, I want you to be aware of what the risks are. We talk about how we go out of our way and we get a lot of negative feedback. Tell your guy not to call. I don't want to hear from your guy. Just sign my people up. We go out of our way to make sure you understand the basics because you got to understand the basics as you get started with Texit coin. You got to understand that it's not a rug pull. It's not a pump and dump. It's not a Ponzi. It's not a pyramid. It's not a meme coin. It's not a get rich quick scheme. That's disappointing to some people. Well, I got in last week. I thought I was going to double my money by now. Who told you that? That's not what we do here. We're building a mine. Building the mine takes time. We can't do it without you. And so it's really important that we cover the basics. And a couple of things that we don't go out of our way to cover, but are important basics are two questions. One, questions about tax and questions about law. And we're not going to get into those things really, really deep tonight. But what I'm going to tell you is about the conversation I had and my particular perspective on it and what it means for you and your journey and experience with Texit coin. But it's really important, as I was saying, to go into all of these things with your eyes wide open. If you're going to make a decision to take a journey and to take a risk with us, you got to know what the basics are of that risk. And if you're not familiar with the basics of that risk, then you're not being well informed. Now, some good news and some bad news. We don't know what all the risks are. There's some knowns and there's some known unknowns and there's some unknown unknowns. What is that? Dick Cheney. Um, so there's a lot that's out there. One of the ones that we kind of really don't know what to do with is the question of the EMP. What happens if the electric grid goes down tomorrow? I don't know. This is a digital currency that takes electricity and turns it into coins. If the electricity goes out tomorrow, it's going to be really hard to turn electricity into coins. What about the internet? What do we do if the internet goes down? Guys, we live in a world today where we have to make investments in our future based on the expectation the world is going to continue spinning tomorrow the way it's spun for the last couple thousand years. And if that fundamentally changes, we've got larger challenges on our hands than just whether or not the 995 we put into Texit coin is going to be worth anything tomorrow. And these are real questions, like, okay, we've lived for a long time without cataclysmic things going down, but we've been through severe weather events. We've had tornadoes and hurricanes and floods and fires, and there's all kinds of stuff happening in the world. We get to live a pretty comfortable life in the United States. We're not dealing with like overlords and dictators and hostile takeovers of, parliamentary offices like some third world countries are, which is pretty good in its own regard. Our guys try to take over the banking systems, totally different. But anyway, we have to make decisions for the future that start with a reasonable expectation that the world's going to continue spinning tomorrow the way it's spun for a while. And so as we evaluate risk, again, there are knowns and there are known unknowns and all that stuff. But point is, we've got some uncharted territory in front of us. The thing that's lighting our path, the light that's guiding us, is the collection of all the things that we've learned from the cryptocurrency industry that has come before us. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Shiba Coin, meme coins, Hawk2 Girl, BitClub Network, and OneCoin, and this coin, and that. We've had hundreds, thousands of examples of guys that did really well and succeeded, and guys that did very poorly and failed, and either ended up in jail or got killed or, ended up under a bridge. There's a lot of things out there from the community for us to learn from. FTX, Mt. Gox, some things recently, some things historically. And so I'd like to think that our timing for Texas Coin is really incredible, meaning we're not too soon and maybe not even just a moment too late. We're exactly where we want to be at exactly the right time. We're in Texas, we're in the US, we're under a great administration that's really kind of brought us back to the Wild West of the crypto days. And so as we evaluate these risks and these opportunities, again, we want to be upfront with each other about what they are. You guys are putting your cash in based on the reasonable expectation that I've got my eyes open and I'm watching as many of these angles as I possibly can. And so, of course, I am. And of course, like I said, I'm always going to bring information back to you guys. You might not always like what I have to say, but I'll always tell you the truth. Lots of ideas popping in and out of my head all day long. When I'm prepared to bring those ideas back to you, I will. And I'm not saying that I'm prepared to have a deep legal conversation with you today, but I am at least prepared to tell you thank you for taking the journey with us. And one of the things that I want us to continue to evaluate are the risks, always. The risks as we know them, the risks as they present themselves. It's important to do that with clarity and honesty so that we can always make good decisions with good information and take that further out into your communities. If you're uncomfortable, it's unlikely that you're going to be out there helping us grow, which is critical for our success. And so anyway, back to the point. We talk about taxes and we talk about legal stuff. And the tax issue, we've been able to say, look, we're not tax advisors. You got to check with your tax attorneys on the rules. We don't collect social security numbers. We don't 1099. We don't W-2. We don't do any of those things because we can't. We're not a company. We don't have that set of rules, and we don't require that kind of information from you. Now, will that always be the case? I don't know. We may have to change at some point in the future. I don't see that happening today, but we don't know everything that tomorrow is going to bring. We'll do the best we can. But same answer for the law side of things. There's nothing illegal about network marketing. Love it or hate it, slimy as it can get from time to time, it's not illegal. There's nothing illegal about crypto mining. There's nothing illegal about alternative and digital currencies. There's nothing illegal about anything that we're doing, so far as I can tell. Now, I've studied lots and lots and lots of cases over the history about people that have done things extremely similar to what we're doing today that have gotten busted and have gone to jail. And I have no fear whatsoever about what we're doing because at the core of every single one of those cases is always the same thing: fraud. Rest assured that defrauding people is illegal and it should be a punishable crime. People should be held accountable for that. People should go to jail if they defraud people. So that's why I keep it very simple. I tell you, look, if you're going to put your cash in, I'm going to do three things with it. I'll pay commissions, I'll build the mine, I'll promote our coin. I want to come back to you and I want to prove to you that I've done those things. So there's never a moment where you're looking at it and saying, well, I don't know if we did the right thing. Maybe I should report this somewhere. I want to come back to you with proof to show you that I did that. That's what transparency and accountability is all about. So anytime you look at some of these things that have come before us, there's always an element of fraud. And the fraud is a really important part because it brings the FBI into the conversation. It brings the criminal prosecutors into the conversation. And so there's still a lingering question all the way at the tail end of those things, and a lingering question about Texit Coin. And the question is Texit Coin a security? Now, big question, totally fair question. My answer is, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I haven't consulted any lawyers. I don't want to consult any lawyers. Is that because I want to be blissfully ignorant? No. It's just because I'm doing what I think is the right thing. I would have you believe, I would love to have you believe that money is at the root, the core of everything that's wrong in the world today. Let me rephrase. Very important. Dishonest, fraudulent money is at the core of everything that's wrong in the world today. It's a bold statement. A lot of people come to me and say, yeah, of course, money's the root of all evil. And I stop them. I go, no. I believe that money is the root of all good. What? Yeah. I believe that money, this kind of money, was always an equivalent of wealth produced. Real money, gold, silver, money that's been respected as such for thousands of years, you got to work for it. You can't make it up out of thin air. You got to go dig it out of the ground and you got to refine it and you got to melt it down and roll it and polish it and stamp it and do all these things to it. You've got to work to create that old fashioned money. It's one of the reasons why I love crypto so much because it's the same thing, just in the digital realm. Now, okay, can you program a meme coin out of thin air? Sure. But Texit coin, you cannot create without taking electricity and computational power, putting those things together to get the digital coin. We're doing it the hard way because of how committed I am to the idea that money is supposed to be an equivalent of wealth produced, production. And so I believe that hard work and good production, good trade is what we exchange for money. And I would love to believe that the harder I work, the more money I can make. And I don't see anything evil in that. Now, if I misuse my money or if I obtain it dishonestly, yeah, it's pretty evil. But without going down the philosophical what is money path too far, the point is that um, we're making money. And there's nothing illegal about creating our own alternative currency. Texcoin is a continuation of my life's work, which I testified in US Congress about back in 2012. And so we go into this experience believing that if we have an opportunity to create an honest money system, then we've got a great opportunity to help civilization, society. Now, whether that starts in a local Texas community and spreads out from there, or we're able to introduce it for the entire country, the entire world, we'll see. It'll take time to get there. We got to start somewhere. And as you all know, we're incredibly small right now. Our community is 0.3% of the size of what we're shooting for. Our mine is 1% of the size of what we're shooting for, 100 million megahash. And so I firmly believe that it's my mission. It's maybe my purpose here on planet Earth to fix the money. You know, we've had dishonest fractional reserve money a couple times throughout the American experience. You know, we had the first central bank set up by our friend Hamilton, which was luckily killed. And then we had a second one that was killed by Thomas Jefferson, or I'm sorry, by Andrew Jackson. And a third one was started in 1913. You remember the story. A group of the world's most powerful men took an overnight secret train ride from New York City down to Jekyll Island, Georgia, where they got together and crafted what has become the Federal Reserve Act. There's a lot that goes into the money conversation. It's a big, big, big nut to swallow. And I'm not here to cover that tonight. But the point is that I believe that dishonest money is at the root of all the things that are wrong with the world. Maybe not the cause of all these things, but if we were to fix the money, we'd at least have an opportunity to deal with the injustices in the world today. It's my real belief. It's really the reason why I'm doing this. The reason why I switched off of gold and silver and build a cryptocurrency rocket ship is because we got to get to the gold more quickly. Gold and silver are by design extremely slow. Just the physical act of manufacturing gold and silver coins is slow. The next step of rolling them out as a currency for people to use, all but impossible. I know it. I did it for years, quite successfully. And I didn't even scratch the surface of what Bitcoin was able to do. Why? Because I picked an old-fashioned tool. It worked. It still works today. I can trade an ounce of silver for anything I want, anytime I want. But as far as a tool that can help communities all over the state, all over the country, all over the world, we got to go digital. I admit that today. I see the error in my ways. I don't think I was wrong. I just wasn't as right as I could have been. And when I stopped resisting that, everything started to work thousands of times faster for me than it ever has before. So I believe that I am right. I believe that the feedback that I'm getting from the community, from you, from The people that were able to engage that understand it. I mean, when you put a silver coin in a mayor's hand, they're like, "What's this?" But when you talk digital, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's like Venmo, it's like Zelle, it's like Cash App." Very familiar, very common, very usable. And that's important because if we try to get people to use tools that they're unfamiliar with or that are uncommon, uncomfortable, it's just raising the barrier for us to be successful unnaturally high. Really cool, but difficult. Anyway, I believe we need honest money. And I believe that Texacoin is the world's most honest money. I believe what we've created is the best version of honest money on planet Earth today. Bitcoin's great too. The only problem it has is it's slow, it's expensive, and it's controlled primarily now by a foreign nation. So I think we learned a lot about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Why is cryptocurrency such an important and valuable financial tool? Because there's a limited supply. You can't make it out of thin air. I mean, look, you think about gold and silver as being honest money. I don't know how much silver is sitting on the face of the earth today. There could be like a Antarctica-sized meteor of silver or gold hidden in the earth's crust somewhere. Somebody finds that someday, and all of a sudden the value of gold or silver crashes. Supply and demand, right? I know exactly how many Bitcoin they're going to be. I know exactly how many Texacoin are going to come out over the next 138 years. It's programmatically defined. I know exactly where those go. I know who gets them. I know how much somebody has to work in order to get their hands on some of them. Texacoin is the world's most honest money. Cryptocurrency, I believe today, is the world's most honest money. It's the best form of money. It's a great medium of exchange. It's a great store of value. It's a great unit of account. It's perfect, flawless money. So long as the lights don't go out. We're going to just put a little asterisk in there at the end. So when the lights stay on, the internet still works. Crypto is perfect money. It's been around long enough now to know that it stands at least, we're coming up on like a generational test of time. Now, what's a generation? Like 20 years plus or minus? Anyway, long story short is I believe in cryptocurrency. I believe in it. I believe that if we're successful, we get rich, which I want and hopefully you want too. But we have the opportunity of a lifetime to leave the world a better place than how we found it, to give the world a powerful tool that communities and residents can use to exchange value with each other without having a banking overlord in the middle of that conversation. I was actually working on an article about money and banking and how today they're synonymous, but they weren't always synonymous. You know, why would you put your money in the bank? Well, if you wanted to like lend it to the bank, have them pay you interest so that they can invest it. That's what banking is. But currency, money, what is a bank? Why is a bank involved in that relationship? Well, because it's all digital. Because it's all like managed by somebody else. So we've left the currency to the bankers. What have they done? They've destroyed the value of that currency, and now money's lost about 99% of its value. Anyway, there's another long, deep conversation there. But my point to you is that we're doing this because we've got a mission. What would have happened back in 2008 if Satoshi Nakamoto went to the government and said, I'd like to file an application for permission to create this alternative currency? Would the SEC have stamped his application approved, go change the world, or would it have been rejected? I don't know. But he didn't ask for permission from the government to create an alternative currency that's put, for the first time in 100 years, the power of money and banking back in the hands of the individual. He didn't ask for permission, and I'm not asking for permission either. And it's because we have an obligation. We have an obligation to create tools and services and systems that the marketplace can use to live, to flourish, to succeed, to thrive, to grow. Traditional money, dollars, that's the opposite. That's the finance of death. The US dollar is the currency of death, of blood, of destruction. I mean, when you think about all the harm that has come to the world because of the devaluation of our currency by independent people that are in control of the money printer, that make it so that you have to work harder every single day to put food on the table for your family. How is that fair? How is that honest? How is that just? I believe I have an obligation to do that. And I believe with the way that we're doing it is exactly the right way. Morally, legally. I believe that all the way with every fiber of my being. In my heart of hearts, I believe that we're doing the right thing and we're doing it fully legally. Why? Because we're following through on our promises. That's the most important part of this whole thing. But having said that, what would I do today if the government called me up and said, hey, it's kind of a security. You can't do it anymore? I'd say, well, I don't think it is a security. Talk to the legal team. Let them sort it out. Or we're watching a monumental shift today with the new administration coming in. I don't think what we're doing right now would have been possible under the Biden administration, to be honest with you. We're seeing a major tectonic shifting of the plates. You know, we've seen a couple different things happen just recently. First of all, SEC enforcement action on crypto related stuff has almost come to a complete halt. I think I even saw an article the other day saying that Trump completely disbanded the SEC's crypto task force. Does that mean it's open season for all things crypto? Maybe. But the laws are constantly shifting anyway. The good news is that fraud is fraud now, 4 years ago, and it will be 4 years from now today. 4 years from now today. 4 years from now. So it's very important as we go through this that we keep our hands clean. It's very important that we don't go to people and say, yeah, we've done a full legal review and the lawyers checked off every box, said we're good to go. No. That's not the case. We think we're doing the right thing. I've researched a lot of these cases. I wouldn't be doing this if I thought we were breaking the law. But the reality of the situation is at the end of the day, it's hard to say. After studying a lot of these things, a lot of the court cases of different things that have come before us, it's very clear and very apparent that the guys that got in trouble, they got in trouble primarily and they went to jail because they defrauded people. And that's why it's so important for you guys to hold me accountable. Because I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to see anybody go to jail. But I do want to see bad actors go to jail. We've got a PR company now that sends us ideas for articles. What's your position on this? What's your position on this? And I sent them an idea for an article. Ross Ulbricht. See if I can find a picture of him here. Share my screen. Ross Ulbricht is keynote speaker at Bitcoin 2025. And you guys know Bitcoin 2025 is coming up in Las Vegas. And it's happening at about the same time that, here we go. Two things right next to each other. Three things. Interesting. Very interesting. Ross Ulbricht speak at Bitcoin 2025 as one of the keynote speakers at the biggest Bitcoin conference that's happening this year in the US. And what's interesting about the story is that just a couple weeks ago, months ago now, I guess, he was pardoned. He was serving 2 life sentences for running a website called Silk Road. It was the eBay of the dark web. You could go to Silk Road and you could get anything. I don't even want to say the things that you could get on there. Drugs, weapons, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that stuff too. This guy was running the website that allowed people to go there and buy it. And they busted him. They put him in jail. They froze all of his Bitcoins. I think the government's even auctioning off all the Bitcoins they seized from that thing. Billions of dollars worth of them today. And now he's being celebrated as a champion of freedom. You saw the article from Reason Magazine. What was it right there? The third one down. The case against Ross Ulbricht was about government power. And I say, guys, was it a little heavy-handed? 2 life sentences for running a website? Yeah, a little over the top, government. But was this guy running a website that was allowing criminals to launder their ill-gotten gains for people that were selling very, very terrible illegal things to monetize stuff? Yeah. Is that good? No. Should we celebrate that? No, not now, not ever. Well, that's not what freedom's all about. Freedom is the ability to do anything you want. I don't know about that. Liberty means responsibility, but you got to go into those things, those questions with a moral code. What is right? What is wrong? Well, each of us to a certain extent defines those things. The law defines some of those things, but we also have to define them for ourselves. And if you think doing that kind of stuff is what freedom is all about, we're going to have a longer discussion. Anyway, long story short is I encourage you to seek your own counsel in regards to the tax obligations, in regards to the legal ramifications, in regards to anything that you're concerned about when it comes to Texacoin. And if you're not in every way comfortable with your relationship with Texacoin, then let us know. And let's find a way for you to get off the rocket ship. We don't want anyone to be doing anything that makes them uncomfortable. But you got to do your own research because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot answer those questions for you. What I think I'm doing is morally right. What I think I'm doing is important for the world. And I'm very prepared to go into this experience with those things guiding me down this path. And I may have to sit in court someday and look at a judge and a jury and say, look, guys, you're telling me it's this. I disagree. I'm pretty sure it's not whatever it is you say that it is. But I didn't lie. I didn't cheat. I didn't steal. I didn't kill. I went out of my way to create value for my friends, my family, the communities that we serve, the miners that join us. And I'm willing to fight to defend those principles. I'm willing to fight to defend my right to do that for me and for us together as a community. I think this conversation is probably a lot darker than it was supposed to be. But anyway, point is, look, guys, I want everyone to be completely comfortable and able to do your own research. I say the playbook. You hear me talk about the playbook all the time. The playbook is BitClub. We know exactly what BitClub did. We know how many people they brought on to mining Bitcoin. We know that what they did wrong. We know the price that they paid for doing it wrong. And we know that we've done it completely different than what we're doing it, which is why I believe that we should expect a completely different outcome. But you guys have to do your own research on those things as well. Okay. And when you're out there talking to people, when you're out there hosting meetings and you're out there sharing our story, you got to be honest and upfront with those people as well. There's no guaranteed returns. There's no double your money in X number of days. It's not what this thing is about. This thing is about building a mine, building an American mine right here in Texas. This thing is about bringing together a bunch of people to form a community, have some great times, and to make some money together. And I encourage you to make your money back by monetizing coins as early as you can and as often as you can, because that money that we're bringing in is from all over the crypto world. You can earn money through helping us fill the seats on the rocket ship. You can earn money through monetizing the coins that come off the mine. You can do both. You can get more mining power by building the rewards program, building through the rewards program, and then monetizing more coins. There are lots of different ways for you to get something out of this, but you got to understand what the questions are that you need to find answers to on your side. You may have tax obligations. Cryptocurrency is different across every state. You might have different rules in your state that say what you can and can't do. It might be time to move. I hear New York's really tough on crypto. We got a great thing going here. And our community is growing incredibly quickly. And it's about to take off to a whole nother level. We got great people coming on board that know how to build companies like this. I don't. I've been able to get us this far based on the quality of and authenticity of my story. But now there are people coming in that are saying, step back, I got this. And all I can say to you and the other great people that are coming into our team is take the principles that I've tried to build into the foundation, the bedrock of Texacoin, and incorporate them into the conversations that you're having, the presentations that you're giving. Be honest, be upfront. And if something goes wrong, if the power goes out tomorrow, we can always look each other in the eye and say, we always told the truth. We always worked as hard as we could. We always did the right thing. It wasn't easy, it wasn't cheap, but we followed through. And if someday I got to stand up in front of a judge and tell him that story, I'll be proud to do it. Because this is a price that I might have to pay for following through on the mission that's been important to me for 17 years now. Honest money. Remember the beginning of my story. I got into this because I went into documentary overload in 2007. What's wrong with the world? I was from left to right. Inconvenient Truth, Who Killed the Electric Car, America, Freedom, and Fascism, the whole thing, all of them. At the bottom of every one of these rabbit holes was always money. Well, who controls the money? Who's doing something to fix the money? The answer? Bernard Van Office from the Liberty Dollar, who was making his own coins in silver. That was the only thing I found. A lot of great people in Congress, like Congressman Ron Paul, champions of honest money for years, trying to audit the Fed, get some controls in there to slow down the printing press. But I saw that, and Satoshi saw that. And we both felt the call. He went digital. I went physical. Satoshi won. But Satoshi checked out. Charlie Lee checked out. Roger Ver checked out. There's nobody even asleep at the wheel of crypto today to keep it on this path. Except for us. And now here we are. Not a moment too soon and not a second too late. We're going to be successful. Anything that's good and honest, beautiful will succeed. That's what we got. But it's so important that these principles that set the foundation for this whole conversation are carried forth into the marketplace by you guys. I'm relying on you to be honest and upfront with the new community that's joining us each and every day, letting them know what the risks are, what the rewards are. Look, guys, if we're right, we win, we get rich. If the lights go out tomorrow, hey, we worked hard for our goal. I don't know what to tell you happens next after that. But the point is that it's very important for me to be upfront with you. And it's equally important for you to be upfront with the community that you're building. And there are some questions out there. Like I said, there are some known unknowns and there's some unknown unknowns. And there's a lot of different things out there that we're going to learn as we go. We're going to make improvements and adjustments. We're going to do a better job every day. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, we're doing this because I believe it's right. I believe that by removing the element of fraud from our work, we take out 99.9% of the teeth from the legal question. Fraud's fraud. If you're defrauding people, you're going to get caught. You're going to go to jail. There's no question about it. So let's be honest. Let's follow through. Let's work hard. Let's make it so that we can always look each other in the eye and tell them we did the right thing. It helps me sleep great at night. Lets me sleep like a baby. I want that feeling for you as well. And together, these principles at the bedrock of our project, we will succeed. We already are. I don't know how many millions of dollars of wealth Texcoin has created. A lot. It's amazing. And it's just getting started. 1% of the way to the goal. 1%. Okay, we've grown a lot. We've got a lot more people, and we just broke 3,000 people. 3,000 people mining Texcoin with us. What an amazing adventure the last year and a couple weeks has been. Thank you. But it's just beginning. And it's just going to get better as time goes. And I think we'll get to our goal very quickly, way ahead of schedule for sure. When? June, July, August? I don't know. We're just going to continue to work hard, do the right thing. But remember, helping us build and grow the affiliate commissions, that's the short money. Texacoin reaching our goals is the long money. And it's a combination of both of those things that make Texacoin, mining Texacoin, unlike anything else that's out there in the realm of network marketing or out there in the realm of crypto, because we've got the best of both worlds. One of a kind, very unique. And I would like to think that with my leadership, with my commitment to the mission of honest money, we've got something great. We've got something really great to look forward to. All right, I think that's it for my my unexpected monologue tonight about honesty, about the law, about tax, about all those things. Do your own research, come to conclusions. Um, we want you to be comfortable. We want you to understand that what we're doing is a risk. We want you to be comfortable taking that risk and helping us grow with our eyes wide open, being honest with the community that we're growing and the market that we're serving. All right, let's take some questions. Texit Raider, hope you like the YouTube videos. Thanks for having us last weekend. I've only watched like the first 2 or 3 so far. There was a bunch. Can you make like a did you already make a 9-minute summary of the whole thing? I'd love to see that. Link me up if you've already done it. If not, hook me up. Mark says PC Bobby. Don't know what that means, but I'm going to go with it. Mark, what you been call it? Jennifer says, I know some younger people who may want to become miners. They're young enough to be into TikTok. Would make them making TikTok videos about Texas going to be a good idea or a bad idea? I think it's a great idea. You just got to watch out for content filters. You know, guys, one of the ways that I knew we had really a wide open Wild West thing here is when the billboards in the Austin airport said, yeah, go ahead, advertise your crypto in here. Really? Cool. Let's go. So I don't know if you're going to be able to advertise on TikTok, and I don't know how the content filters are going to treat crypto related content, but try it out, see if it works. Joe says, just build a Faraday cage around the mine. We would need a lot of the Faraday material, whatever that stuff is. Not Dick Cheney. Was it Donald Rumsfeld? Yes, it was Rumsfeld. Rumsfeld. One of the axes of I don't know. You know, my first coin that I ever made, you probably don't know this, was the Dick Cheney Neo coin. And I made one for a bunch of the really popular neocons back at the end of 2008. It was a great series. See if you can find some online. Quite rare. But yeah, I think you're right. It was Rumsfeld. But it could have just as easily been Dick Cheney. Maddie on board asked if Texacoin is associated with the Texas Nationalist Movement. No, we are not associated. That's really important too, because I've had that conversation a bunch of times as well. And I'm playing with my nose a lot. It makes me feel like I'm on like some sort of cocaine or something. I just feel like it's time maybe for a nose hair trimming. We'll get to that later. No, we're not. And that's really important because we're apolitical. We're not affiliated with right or left. And that sounds really kind of disingenuous, maybe, to a lot of our fans that are like diehard, Trump supporters. Look, I'm all for government doing good stuff. I'm very skeptical. It's very rare that you see a government that actually shows up and does something intelligent and worthwhile. What's the line from Reagan? You know, the most dangerous words in the English language. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. So I'm skeptical. So we are very particular about us not being perceived as a right-wing kind of thing. Why? Because when you're talking community currencies, it's really a left discussion. It's really a conversation that works very well on the other side of the aisle. Who cares about community currencies? Well, it's normally people that are left-leaning, Democrats. Let's make alliances. Let's trade with all, alliances with none. Let's build our community that's based on the mutual agreement that we should have honest money. Look, we may have different political ideas and we might have different, favorite flavors of ice cream, but we still got to deal with each other. If we're going to deal with each other, let's do it with a currency that's honest. And so we're not a political movement. Very important to clarify that. It's also very important that we don't over-identify with any one camp or another, because it'll make it more difficult for us to establish community currencies. And that's a primary goal for us. The usability of our coin is paramount to the utility of our project. We want people actually using and trading. And if we say that this is only a coin for right wing, we cut off, half the world at that point. And so like I said, it's very important for us to not build too many affiliations like that if we can avoid it. We are not affiliated with the Texas Nationalist Movement. We reached out to them in the very early days and said, hey, you guys are a Texas Nationalist Movement. We're Texit Coin. We should be friends. And they kind of rejected it. And it was weird. And I think that they did it because they had some experience with crypto already. And they were concerned about having a negative impact on their pre-existing relationships. And you should know all about that, Maddie. And so we kind of just shrugged and said, okay, well, you guys are working on your Texas nationalist movement through the political process, collecting signatures, getting on the ballot, working with politicians, legislative process. Okay, we're going to do something similar from the money perspective. We're going to establish a good usable currency in Texas for Texas. So that way, if you guys are ever successful in your political outcome, then at least we have an honest currency for this, independent Republic of Texas to use as this money. That way, the banking overlords don't swoop in and say, here's your new currency, back to work. But no official association between our group and theirs. Davy Jones says, we've done some promotional on TikTok. No issues. Great. Keep up the great work. Thaddeus, for placement of our people, are you allowing time for the different time zones to do this? Yeah, a lot of time now. In fact, more time than ever. Sales close at the end of the day on Saturday. What is the end of the day? 7 p.m. Central Time is the end of the day on Saturday. So at 7 o'clock, we stop taking new sales. We don't have the ability to input new miners or new sales after 7 o'clock on Friday. Did I say Saturday? Friday. Friday at 7 o'clock is when our sales ability closes out. We can't add anyone. We can't add any new orders after 7 o'clock on Friday. That gives us all day now on Saturday to make your placement adjustments. Okay. Make sure that you double check, make sure it's all in the right spot, because at 7 p.m. Central Time on Saturday, everything's locked in, commissions run. It is a disaster to try to change it. I would say that it's almost unchangeable. We can move somebody that's annoying, but the points don't move along with them. Why? Because there are lots of people above it. We'd have to manually adjust every single point, hundreds of places maybe. And so we can't do that. It's just not possible. So you've got to get your placement adjustments to us by Saturday at noon Central Time. That gives us 7 hours to go through and do all the configuration that you've requested so that commissions can run properly on schedule. Put that extra hash power out there for the people that earn it, pay out the Texit coin, pay out the USDC. All those things can happen flawlessly. Help me make my job easy. Help make my job easier by getting those requests in. Email them to placement@mindtxc.com by Saturday at noon or else. It's locked in, permanent. Hopefully that answers your question. Ed says, can you talk about the companies using this coin and the utility of Texit coin? No, not yet. Some people on our Telegram chat group have started to circulate a very small list of companies that are actively circulating Texit coin. That is not our primary mission today. If we were to try to go around and get businesses to directly accept Texit coin, it would be a wild misappropriation of resources. The reason for that is because if the business already accepts Bitcoin or USDC, click, 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 you can turn your Texit coin into those things. So instead of us trying to spend time and put energy into winning businesses over to the direct acceptance of Texit coin, based on cryptocurrency's beautiful fungibility, you can pay them in something like USDC or Bitcoin. And so today, that is not a top priority for us. Not today. Now, we will have a list and it will be sweet at some point. But our goal is actually to work through fairs and festivals to create community currencies. Why fairs and festivals? Because when somebody goes into a fair or festival, they're comfortable using an alternative currency. Usually, alternative currency is a paper ticket. When we were doing this back in the old days with coins, copper coins, half-ounce copper coins, most of the fairs and festivals were still using paper tickets. Now, a lot of them have gone digital since then. That makes it even easier for us to introduce our currency. But our goal is to go in there and get fairs and festivals to use our blockchain based digital currency that, after the fair and festival concludes, can continue to circulate around town as a local community currency. There's a lot that goes into that. And it's not easy. It's something that we were able to successfully do back in the day, but it was the easiest way to get community currencies going, because the challenge is always to bring capital in the currency. How do you get people to start using the community currency if there's no understanding and no incentive to do it? Well, you pick a limited access event like an Oktoberfest or a July 4th festival or a Art and Bloom festival in downtown McKinney, where now you've got all these people coming in, they're swapping out their dollars for tickets, and they're spending those tickets with the local merchants. Now we get them to swap their dollars for an app through a Google or an Apple Pay. They've got digital, they tap to pay, they scan to pay, they tap, 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 and that's it. So it's an extremely easy transition to get fairs and festivals to use a digital ticketing system, which is all this is. It's currency. It's an alternative currency. So in order for them to that first part is very easy for us. The second part is to actually get the town to continue to circulate the currency after the fair and festival leaves. That takes a little bit more work, but it's mostly just education. There are hundreds of cities all across the US right now that use community currencies. Once we get our mind established and we've got our currency rocking, we'll go to those towns as well outside of Texas for them to recreate those community currencies now using blockchain technology. Which blockchain? The Made in America blockchain, TXC. That's it. It's all that we have to do to give ourselves real utility. If we're able to get these things to catch on, small town by small town, next thing you know, there's millions of dollars of currency building up in this system. Next thing you know, we become one of the largest stable coins in the world because the dollars are stored on hand at a local bank. And now that money can circulate around town as many times as it likes at almost no fee. Now that's on top of the TXC blockchain. That's layer 2. So what we're doing is we're building the mine that supports the transaction process. We're going to build a mine that's so big that the world goes, great job, but not so big where we're 100,000 times, 10,000 or 100,000 times bigger than we need to be, like the Bitcoin inefficient network. We want to be the lean and mean and clean cryptocurrency that's out there that is able to get people to use the utility, our blockchain, through an alternative currency that happens through fairs and festivals. And there are a lot of them. They're happening all over the place. Every weekend, millions and millions of people are going out and participating, spending money at fairs and festivals. Real easy way of getting ourselves started. That's where it begins. There's much more coming after that. Okay, I think that's about it for tonight. I don't see any more questions except for Catherine. Popped up last second here. Catherine, thanks for adding that in. Is there a video on how to place to get the best strategic way to place? I can't see all my people. So a couple things. There's no video on it right now. We'll make them. They're coming very soon, in fact. But I've got a simple placement strategy for you. Simple placement strategy is long, unbroken lines. Why? Because if you're working on a great team and your team sponsor or your team leader is working on building one side for you, then you build the other. You make it very easy for the people that you bring on to go out and build their pay leg. So if you're on a great team and somebody's building one side for you, we call that the power leg. Then all you've got to do to make money is to build out your pay leg. Every time you match the points from your power leg with the points on your pay leg, you get a check. Technically, it's a USDC transfer. But long story short, bottom line is that you have to decide how to keep your legs balanced. Because if you have one leg that goes and runs and there are 9 points all in there, and you've got 0 on the other side, you're not getting paid. So you have to work up and down your leg to continue to accumulate those points. Unmatched points don't get paid. So you got to keep in balance. So hopefully you're working with a team leader that's building out one side for you. You build out the other side, and that's how you get the most out of the Rapid Rewards program. Okay. We'll have a video on it sometime very soon. We've brought on Arthur to be able to explain some of these concepts better. Remember, this is not totally comfortable territory for me. I'm brand new to this type of thing, but there are a lot of great people in our community now that understand these concepts much better than I do. And hopefully they will start to create videos and resources to teach you how to build out so that you get your 3 points on your left, your 3 points on your right, and you get your $1,000 first commission. Very easy to do. But again, keep your legs balanced. And my suggestion, and you can ignore it, my suggestion is to do everything you can to make it as easy as possible for the people that you're bringing on to also be successful. So if you put all your stuff down one long line, all those people now only have to build out their other side in order for them to get paid. So you may come across an opportunity where you go, well, if I put this person here, it generates a check from me. But if I put this person here, who's going to be building that side for them? If I'm not doing it, they're on their own. They've got to build their left and their right. So you may come across an opportunity where if you put them in a long unbroken line there, you don't get a check right away, but you get all these other people points along that same line. And so that's the challenge. The challenge is to figure out how to balance short-term gains with long-term team building success. Once you figure out how to master that, you go supernova. What does go supernova mean? It means that you're going to max out and make $3,000 this week, whether you get out of bed or not. Now, you can't do it forever because there's a cap on how much cash you can get. We call it a cash potential. But the point is that once you bring on your team and your left team is doing great and your right team is doing great, or somebody's building your left team and you're building your right team and you're matching all those points, 3 every week, you're getting $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 a week, and you're going supernova, which means that your team's going to put points on the board and you're going to get paid whether you get out of bed or you take a vacation or not. Now, you got to keep an eye on it because of the cash potential limitation. But the point is, once you master that, once you get close to that point, you're going to start getting frustrated. Because remember, we stopped counting at 9 points. So imagine you've got like 8 points on one side and it's like Thursday afternoon and somebody wants to buy a 9-pack and you go, wow, a 9-pack. Okay, 8 plus 9 is 17. No, 8 plus 9 is 9. We stopped counting at 9. Well, whoa. I'm not going to put that sailing because I'm going to lose 8 points. 8 points are going to be uncounted. Yes, that's true. But if you save those points until next week, how many points are you going to have next week? You might have 8 or 9 or 10 points next week anyway. So it doesn't matter if you put it in this week or next week. You're going to max out at 9. Well, I'll just put them over here. That way I get paid here and here. Well, you can to a certain extent. Remember, we've got the cash potential. But the point is that now you've got somebody that's been orphaned over on the other side. And now you've got to help them grow and build. And you've got to help your other team grow and build. So that's why my suggestion, and again, it comes from my extremely limited experience in this realm. My suggestion is to put all of your recruits down one long unbroken leg, as long as you're working with a sponsor that's building out the other side for you. And hopefully they're doing as well or better than you're doing. But if you start to outpace them, then you got to go and you got to pay attention to your other side. One leg's your weak side, one leg's your strong side until they're both maxing out. And so, Catherine, the answer to your question is no, but we will make a video. I think there is a lot of videos out there, actually. You just have to find them in the Zoom archives. But we'll get them onto the knowledge base. And we'll make a new one that brings us all up to speed on everything we've learned so far. As far as the best strategic place, talk to somebody that's a sponsor or talk to Arthur. And let's figure that out on how to do that best for your particular situation. But, we will talk about Vegas. But again, my suggestion for you is that you put all of your stuff down one long line. And what that does is it makes it as easy as possible for all of these guys to succeed. Okay. But you want to be careful because if you get 9 points there and you keep going, you're not going to get paid on any of those. Wait, I thought it was 6 points and I get paid. Yeah. If it's 3 here and 3 there, then yes, you get paid. So you got to make sure that you're keeping your legs balanced. If your legs get unbalanced and one takes off and you're not matching on the other side, you're not getting paid. We want to help you figure out how to master this because the sooner you get paid, the sooner you go, that was easy. Let's keep going. But the sooner you help your people get paid, the sooner they go, that was easy. Let's keep going. And so we want to work together as a team to make sure that you're getting something out of this and the people you're bringing on also have an opportunity to succeed as well if they want to. But there's no free money here. So you got to help us build if you wanted some of that cash. There's a lot of cash, but you got to help us build. Catherine, hopefully that helps. Reach out to Arthur. Can I summarize the Vegas incentive? Yes, I can. And this is exciting because I like this idea. Okay, so we've got a contest. Here's the official contest announcement. It goes like this. Starting this week, going through week 59, We're in week 55 right now. So 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. You got 5 weeks. But in the next 5 weeks, if you personally sponsor 6 people, I will fly you out and put you up in a Vegas hotel for the WDMS, the World Digital Mining Summit, where I get to speak about Texit Coin, which I'm very excited about. So, one more time, 6 personal sponsorships get you 4 nights and airplane domestic airfare to Las Vegas to join us for the World Digital Mining Summit. Let's go. Now, if you have 10 personal sponsorships between now, the next 5 weeks, shouldn't be that hard. 10 personal sponsorships gets you 4 nights at a hotel and airfare for you and a guest, double occupancy, domestic airfare for you and a guest. 10 personal sponsorships. Now, if you do one of two things, either 10 personal sponsorships, 50 points from 10 or more personal sponsorships, you get the 4 nights, you get airfare for 2, and a $5,000 cash bonus. That's some either spa money or some one-armed bandit money or some extra money for you to get your car wrapped or some cash for you to pay down a credit card or 2. But if you acquire 50 points and have 10 sponsorships, so it's got to have 10 sponsorships and got to have 50 points. If you do those 2, ticket for you and a guest, domestic, to Las Vegas for the World Digital Mining Summit, which is the 25th, 26th, 27th of next month, May, and a hotel room. I'm not sure if it's a suite. I'm not sure where we're going just yet. So I'll cover your hotel. I'll cover airfare for 2 and a $5,000 cash bonus if you bring on 50 points from your 10 new recruits over the course of the next 5 weeks, including this week. So we got week 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. That takes us up to about a week before the event. It's a pretty serious bonus. And I'm not joking about it. I hope I'm not going to regret it, or I hope I'm going to regret it. But those are the terms. That's what I came up with. 6 sponsorships, 4 nights, hotel and airfare. 10 sponsorships, 4 nights, hotel and airfare for you, domestic, and a guest, double occupancy. 10 sponsorships and 50 points from these sponsored miners, 4 nights this one does say in a suite. 4 nights in a suite. Airfare for 2 domestic and $5,000 cash bonus. There you go. Does that answer your question? Hopefully, Dan, that answers your question. That is the official Vegas promo. Catherine comes back and says, is this done in the back office? Because all my people aren't showing back there yet. Catherine, people show up in there once they pay and we enter them in. And so we've got 37 miners right now sitting in we don't know. They contacted us. We call them. We email them. If you're not seeing somebody, check with us, placement at mindtxt.com and see if they've paid. If they haven't paid, bump them, ask them to get their money in. Have them pay you and then send us some crypto. Get to keep 5% of it. So I'm not sure, but if you're not seeing your people, it's probably because they are still in the pending status. GT says, shout out to Terry T for some great vids and conversation today. Yeah, thanks, Terry T. Appreciate you. Also, Harbor Freight has some cheap nose hair trimmer. That's probably true. Yeah, like I don't do cocaine, but sometimes I have a very itchy nose. It's not today. Or no, it is today. Am I okay? I think I'm all right. Okay. Robert says, if you hit commission and have over, does it roll to next week? No. You can look at your commission calculation at the end of the week. It'll show you how many points you started with. Let's say you started with 3 and 1. It'll show you how many points you added, 27 and 46. It'll show you how many total you had, 9 and 9. Then it shows you what package you qualified for, 9 and 9. We subtract the 9 and 9 from the 9 and 9, and you start the following week with 0, 0. That's how we don't go bankrupt. It's kind of a game. Point management is kind of a game, right? It's very frustrating if you don't know how to play the game. You go, oh, I don't get it. I'm referring people, but I'm not getting paid. Well, you got to have balance. 3 here, 3 there. Why is it a game? It's a game so that when you figure out how to play it and you do really well with it, you can make a lot of money. When you get your team cooking, you can do very well and make a lot of money. That's the idea. The idea is that the rewards compound as your team gets bigger and better. But no, the points, if the points are unpaid, let's say you got 8 points on one side and 1 point on the other side. They roll over. And the next week, you got 8 points or 1 more point on one side and 2 more points on the other side. So now you've got 9 and 3. You qualify for the 3-3 package. That's the $1,000. We deduct that from the 9 and 3. So the following week, you start out at 6 and 0. Very simple math. Really, really simple comp plan. Not real difficult to do well with it. Not real difficult to build a successful team. But that's what this thing's all about, making it as easy as possible for the greatest number of people to win. It's not like other networks where all the money gets paid out $400,000 a month to the top guys. Not it. Not us. By design. That's not how we do it. Catherine says, sorry, they have paid. I will call support. Please don't call, Catherine. Please email placement@mindtxe.com. Phone's ringing off the hook. It's really easy for us to manage a queue of questions and challenges when we've got a email record to keep track of it. Okay, that's it for this week. We got into a lot of stuff I didn't think we were going to get into. Hopefully, I've not scared you all off with our discussion of the law in the beginning. But seriously, guys, I am not in any way worried about it. It's not because I'm stupid, not because I'm blind, and not because I'm fearless. It's because I know we're doing the right thing. And when you've got the power of truth and honesty on your side, you can deal with all else. Everything else can be dealt with when you're honest and upfront. We can work through the other stuff. Okay. I think that's it. I'm Bobby Gray. I'm the founder, fearless leader of this thing. It's called Texit Coin. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are having fun too. I cannot wait to see how many of you will get to connect with me in Vegas next month. But the contest is on. Let's go. Thanks, everyone, and have a great night.